Imagine you have a beautiful diamond, but over the years, it's accumulated layers of dust and grime. The diamond hasn't changed. Its essential nature is still brilliant and valuable. But you can't see that brilliance because it's covered. Your work isn't to become brilliant. Your work is to clean away the accumulated dirt so your natural brilliance can shine through. That's what this journey is about. It's not self-improvement. It's self-revelation. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but if I let go of my identity, who will I be? Won't I lose myself? And this is the beautiful paradox. You have to lose yourself to find yourself. You have to release who you think you are to discover who you truly are. And what you'll find isn't emptiness or confusion. What you'll find is a sense of self that's more authentic, more peaceful, more powerful than anything your ego could construct. Your ego-based identity needs constant maintenance. It needs validation from others. It needs to be right. It needs to protect itself from threats, real or imagined. It needs to compare itself to others to know if it's winning or losing. It's exhausting, isn't it? Living from that place of constant need, constant defense, constant striving to prove your worth. But your true self, your divine nature, needs none of that. It knows its worth because it's connected to the infinite worth of the Creator. It doesn't need to prove anything because it has nothing to prove. It doesn't need to defend itself because it can't be threatened. It simply rests in the certainty of its own being. This is what Jesus meant when he said, "You must lose your life to find it." This is what Buddha meant when he taught about the illusion of the separate self. This is what every sage, every mystic, every enlightened being throughout history has been trying to tell us. The person you think you are is a mask, and beneath that mask is your true face, the face of the divine. So how do you begin to make this shift? How do you move from identifying with the false self to recognizing the true self? It starts with observation. It starts with becoming curious about your own mind instead of being controlled by it. The next time you have a strong emotional reaction to something, instead of immediately acting on it or being swept away by it, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, who is the one feeling this emotion? Who is the one having this experience? When you ask that question, something magical happens. You create a gap. You step back from the experience just enough to remember that you are not the experience itself. You are the one experiencing it. And in that gap, in that moment of separation, you touch your true nature. You remember yourself as the witness, the observer, the eternal presence that's been there all along. If this message is resonating with you, if you're feeling something shift inside as you hear these words, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps this video reach others who need to hear this message, and it lets me know that what we're exploring here is landing in your heart. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. There are souls all over the world waking up to this same truth, remembering who they really are beneath the conditioning and the fear. The beliefs you hold about yourself right now, the ones that limit you, the ones that cause you pain, they're not permanent fixtures of your being. They're temporary guests in the house of your consciousness, and you have the power to ask them to leave. You have the power to question every single belief you've ever had about who you are and what you're capable of. Not from a place of self-judgment, but from a place of gentle curiosity. Is this belief true? Or is it just a thought I've been thinking for so long that I've mistaken it for truth? Here's something beautiful that happens when you start to disidentify from your limiting self-concept. You become free to act in new ways. If you've always believed you're shy, and then you recognize that shy is just a label, not your essential nature, suddenly you're free to speak up when you feel called to. If you've always believed you're not worthy of love, and then you recognize that belief is just conditioned programming, not divine truth, suddenly you're free to receive the love that's been waiting for you all along. Your true self, the consciousness beneath your thoughts, is unlimited. It's not bound by your past. It's not defined by your mistakes. It's not confined to the narrow boxes that society, family, or even you yourself have tried to squeeze it into. Your true self is as vast as the sky, and all the thoughts and beliefs you've identified with are just clouds passing through. Sometimes the clouds are dark and stormy. Sometimes they're light and fluffy. But no matter what, they're temporary, and they're not you. This understanding is the foundation of genuine transformation. You cannot truly change from a place. Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like the person staring back is both you and not you at the same time? That strange sensation where you recognize your face, your body, your existence, yet something deep inside whispers that there's more to you than what you've come to believe? Today, we're going to explore something that will fundamentally shift how you see yourself, and I promise you, by the end of this conversation, you'll never look at your identity the same way again. If you're new here, welcome to a space where psychology meets spirituality, where science embraces the soul. Go ahead and subscribe right now, and turn on those notifications because what we discuss here might just be the missing piece you've been searching for. Before we dive deep, I want you to do something for me. Type in the comments right now, "I am divinely guided to my true self." This isn't just about engagement, though I love hearing from you. It's about making a declaration, planting a seed in your consciousness that will bloom as we journey through this message together. Go ahead, pause for just a moment and type that phrase. Your participation creates an energetic exchange that amplifies the power of what you're about to receive. Let me ask you something personal. When you introduce yourself to someone new, what do you say? You probably share your name, maybe your occupation, perhaps where you're from or what you do. You might mention that you're a parent, a spouse, a student, an entrepreneur. You might describe yourself by your achievements, your struggles, your past experiences. But here's what psychology has discovered, and what ancient spiritual traditions have known for thousands of years. None of those things are actually who you are. They're costumes you're wearing. They're roles you're playing. They're chapters in your story, but they are not the author. The identity you've constructed, the one you defend, the one you introduce to the world, the one you wake up believing you are each morning, is actually a carefully assembled collection of memories, social conditioning, repeated thoughts, and learned behaviors. It's a psychological construct, not an unchangeable truth. And this realization isn't meant to frighten you or make you feel lost. It's meant to liberate you. Because if you're not who you think you are, then you're free to discover who you actually are beneath all those layers. Think about this for a moment. When you were 5 years old, you had an identity. You believed certain things about yourself. You had preferences, fears, dreams. Then when you were 15, you had a different identity. Different beliefs, different fears, different dreams. And now, wherever you are in your journey, you have yet another identity. But here's the profound question. If your identity keeps changing, then which one is the real you? The 5-year-old? The 15-year-old? The person you are today? Or are you actually something constant that exists beneath all these changing versions? Psychology calls this the self-concept, and it's one of the most studied phenomena in human behavior. Your self-concept is essentially the story you tell yourself about who you are. It's built from your experiences, especially the ones from childhood. It's shaped by what your parents said about you, what teachers told you, what peers reflected back to you. Every time someone said, "You're so shy," or "You're so smart," or "You're not good at math," or "You're the responsible one," they were handing you a building block for your identity. And you, being young and impressionable, picked up those blocks and started constructing a house you decided to live in for the rest of your life. But here's what they didn't tell you. You can walk out of that house anytime you want. You built it and you can unbuild it. Those walls aren't real in the way you think they are. They're made of repeated thoughts, not concrete. They're reinforced by habitual behavior, not steel. And the moment you recognize this, the moment you truly understand that your identity is fluid and changeable, you step into a power that most people never access in their entire lifetime. Now, let's bring spirituality into this conversation, because this is where it gets truly beautiful. Spiritual traditions across the world, from Buddhism to Christianity, from Hinduism to indigenous wisdom teachings, all point to the same truth. You are not your ego. You are not your personality. You are not your achievements or your failures. You are not your past or your fears about the future. You are something far more magnificent, far more eternal, far more connected to the divine source of all creation. In Christian mysticism, there's this concept of the false self and the true self. The false self is the ego-driven identity that seeks validation, fears rejection, compares itself to others, and finds its worth in external circumstances. The true self is your divine nature, the part. I want you to try a small experiment with me right now. Close your eyes if it feels safe to do so. Take a deep, slow breath. And another. Now, notice the thoughts that are swirling in your mind. Don't try to stop them. Just observe them. Notice the voice that might be saying, "This is silly," or "I don't have time for this," or "What am I supposed to be feeling?" That voice, that commentary is the ego. It's the narrator. Now, see if you can take a step back from it. Realize that there is the voice, and then there is the one who is hearing the voice. Who is that? Who is this silent witness that is aware of the thoughts? That awareness, that silent, spacious presence. That is the beginning of your connection to your true self. It is the real you. It has been there all along, patiently waiting for you to notice. This journey of disidentification from the ego is the most important work you will ever do. It is the path from fear to love, from bondage to freedom, from anxiety to peace. It's not about destroying the ego. The ego is a necessary tool for functioning in this three-dimensional world. It's about putting it in its proper place. The ego should be a servant, not the master. Its job is to manage the practical details of life, like a personal assistant. But the master, the CEO of your life, is your soul, your true self, the divine presence within you. For too long, you have let the assistant run the entire company, and it is running it into the ground with stress and fear. It's time for a change in management. If this idea of uncovering your true self resonates with you, if it feels like a truth you've always known deep down but could never put into words, please take a moment to like this video. Your small act of clicking the like button helps this message of hope and liberation reach so many other souls who are tired of wearing their masks and are ready to discover the peace that lies within. It's a simple way to spread this light further into the world. So, how do we begin this shift in a practical way? It starts with awareness. It starts with becoming a detective of your own inner world. Throughout your day, start to notice the voice of the ego. Notice when it gets triggered. Notice the stories it tells you. When someone cuts you off in traffic, notice the surge of anger and the story the ego tells. They disrespected me. How dare they? In that moment, can you pause and recognize, that is the ego feeling threatened? Can you see that your true self, the vast ocean of your being, cannot be harmed or diminished by a car changing lanes? When you receive criticism at work, notice the feeling of shame or defensiveness and the story the ego tells. I'm a failure. I'm going to get fired. Can you pause and recognize? This is the ego's fear of not being good enough? Can you connect with the part of you that knows your worth is inherent and unchangeable, regardless of anyone's opinion? This practice of mindful observation is not about judging the ego. That would just be the ego judging itself, a clever trap. It's about observing with a gentle, compassionate curiosity. You watch the antics of your mind the way you might watch a dramatic movie. You are interested, you are engaged, but you know that you are not the character on the screen. You are the one sitting in the theater watching it all unfold. Every time you do this, you create a little bit of space between you, the observer, and the thought. In that space lies your freedom. With every moment of mindful awareness, you are loosening the ego's grip. You are withdrawing your belief from its stories. You are remembering who you truly are. Another powerful practice is to consciously connect with your true self through stillness. The ego thrives in noise and distraction. The soul is found in silence. This doesn't mean you have to meditate for hours a day. It can be as simple as taking 3 conscious breaths before you get out of your car. It can be 5 minutes of sitting in a quiet room with no phone, no television, just being present with your own being. In these moments of stillness, you are creating an opening for the whisper of the soul to be heard. You might not hear an actual voice. You might feel a sense of calm. You might have a sudden insight. You might simply feel a release of tension in your body. This is the language of the soul. It is subtle, but it is powerful. It is the feeling of coming home. You see, the person you have thought yourself to be is built on a foundation of separation. The ego's core belief is, I am separate. Separate from others, separate from the world, separate from God. This belief is the root cause of all fear, conflict, and suffering. When you believe you are separate, you must compete, you must defend, you must hoard, you must prove your worth. the world becomes a place of threat and scarcity. But the true self knows the ultimate reality, oneness. It knows that you are not separate from anything or anyone.